Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Roina, Communications Analyst with Health Workforce Development, a part of California's Department of Healthcare Access and Information, or HCAI. Today I'm joined by Trish Williams-Forde, the Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Program Director and Assistant Professor at Charles Drew University's Mervyn M. Dimely School of Nursing. Charles Drew is a recipient of HCAI's Psychiatric Education Capacity Expansion Grant Program, or PECE, and Trish oversees the use of those funds. Additionally, Charles Drew participates in all three of HCAI's Song Brown Health Workforce Training programs, as well as our Health Professions Pathways program. So today we're discussing how HCAI funding has impacted Charles Drew University's ability to deliver quality education to a culturally competent and linguistically appropriate psychiatric care workforce. Thank you so much for joining us today, Trish. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me.
First off, can you tell us just a little bit about what you do there and who you serve?
Sure, definitely. So, as you mentioned, I'm Professor Trish Williams-Forde, and I'm the Program Director of the Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Program, as well as Assistant Professor. I mainly focus on ensuring the comprehensive learning of our students by making sure that our curriculum is in alignment with our accrediting bodies, such as the AACN, CCNE, NONPF, and the California Board of Registered Nursing. Additionally, I am responsible for recruiting quality Psych MP faculty, as well as participate in marketing of our Psych MP program at various Psych MP conferences, and this is in an effort to increase our enrollment numbers. I also work very closely with our faculty and our students to help our students successfully complete the program by addressing issues and concerns that may jeopardize the student's success. I am also working on a new program with our graduate employment pipeline. And so what that looks like is a lot of people will say, well, if I go through your program, am I going to get a job after I graduate and I pass boards? So that's one of the projects that I'm working on, is to make sure that once they graduate, I have a list of employers that are new grad friendly that will take them on into the federal qualified health centers as well as primary mental health clinics.
What has fundamentally changed about your work from when you first started this until now?
I think the main thing that's changed about my work from when I first started is growth. The program started in May of 2018 with one person, and in the fall of 2018, another one person. So there was only like two people that were rotating in the program. And by 2022, the largest cohort that I've had is 34 students. Typically, our students who are pursuing their Masters of Nursing with a Psych MP focus typically run about 15 students, and our postmaster certificate program students, they normally run between 3 to 5 students. So for spring 2023, with our marketing of the PECE grant that we have, my numbers are my Master's of Nursing with the Psych focus is 18, and I have literally 16 postmaster certs. So that is like a little over triple the number of students that we typically have in our postmaster cert with the Psych MP focus. So definitely I would have to say it's growth, number one. Number two would be improving our pass rates. When we first had the ability to sit to take the ANCC Psych MP board certification in 2020, our pass rate for the first time attempt was not so great. It was about 64%, but we created some exam preparation courses and boot camps. And so as of 2021, we were at 91% first attempt pass rate, which was above the national average for that specific exam. That average is about 85%. And so for 2022, I've been keeping my own internal tracking. And so it looks like we're at about 98.9 to 99% pass rate.
What do you see as the biggest challenge the industry is facing today? And what about in 5 years?
I would say that the biggest challenge that the industry is facing, specifically in post-licensure education, nurse practitioner education, is that these are students who come with life experience. So these individuals typically have families already. They have financial responsibility. A lot of them are the breadwinner and sole provider of their households. And because of that, they may not be in a position to, have the extra money for their tuition. And so sometimes we've run into cases where some students may have ran out of money, and that's because of previous loans or grants that they've used to get this far into their education. And so that's what we've seen. And I'm very happy that Dr. Carlisle and our SVP Angela Minifield have put into place little programs to be able to help our students who appear like they might be not be able to finish because they ran out of funding, but then there's funding that can come into place. But with the grant for 2022 to 2027, there's a tuition reimbursement piece that's in that. And so we're very happy that that's there, because if we have someone that runs out of money, then we can work with our Office of Special Projects, OSP, our grant office, to see how we can be able to fill that financial gap so our students can progress in the program and graduate. And I
Right.
would say 5 years from now, it might be the same thing. It may be money, because with inflation rates and cost of, per unit for class, it's always getting more and more expensive as the years and years go by.
How has the PECE program funding impacted the ability of your organization to increase access to health care for Californians?
I will first say that the peace funding has allowed us again to have that growth, meaning that we can enroll more students. When we enroll more students, then we have the ability to recruit faculty. And the faculty that we recruit, we look for faculty that are diverse, not only in race, but also ethnicity, languages. And so I was able to, a typical example would be the first time I was able to, or I would say ever in our program, we were able to recruit and hire a faculty that speaks Armenian. And so now we had students that spoke Armenian, but we didn't have an Armenian speaking faculty. And so now that faculty has volunteered to take those students and bring them over into the Armenian community and have them work with her in the clinic. And so that's amazing, because we didn't have that ability before. We also just recently hired last week a faculty that speaks Hindu. So we've never had that before. So we're looking forward to that faculty, and that faculty actually works in an area of LA County where that language is spoken pretty prevalently. So we're looking at being able to hire faculty that speak various languages that also represent the community, recruit students from the communities that speak different languages, different cultures, so that they can confidently go back and practice and do amazing mental health care for the individuals in their communities.
How did you hear about HCAI's financial assistance programs, Trish?
So, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, we have other nursing programs within the Mervyn M. Dimely School of Nursing that have been recipients of Healthcare Access Information grants. And so, two program directors of other programs mentioned to me that they were applying for the Song Brown grant for primary health care. And so they said, you know what? There is a psychiatric grant that's coming up. You may want to look into it. And so immediately I did. I went to the website, I printed out the whole announcement. I, put on the schedule the webinar so that I could listen to how to actually fill out the application and then start working on getting the documents together and the data that was needed for the grant.
So who has this grant funding allowed you to help that you would have never been able to help before?
It has allowed me to help the Psych and P students. Prior to this grant, students were paying out of pocket thousands of dollars to preceptors. And so it's, a double whammy, right? They have to pay for their tuition. They also have to pay gas. And at that particular time, gas was what, $6, $7, per gallon to travel to the various psych facility locations to do their direct patient care clinical hours. However, with the PECE grant, I was notified that it covers the preceptor fees. And so this was a huge financial burden that was lifted off of the students, and now they could actually concentrate. I had one student previous to the grant that had to drop out of the program because she said, I don't have the money to pay the preceptors. So now that student is back in the program. She's going to graduate next year, but she was in tears when she found out that we had the money to pay the preceptors. So it's
Wow.
huge. This is who it helps. It helps the students.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to the conversation today, Trish?
I would just like to say thank you guys so much for having this program. I want to say that when I went to another school, I was able to benefit from HCAI because I didn't pay for my preceptor fees. So when I came into this position, my question was, well, you guys have the same funding. How can we help the students? And once we received the green light, not only from HCAI, but also from our president, Dr. Carlisle, that we could use these funds to pay the preceptor fees for the students. It was literally like a night and day change for our program. Our students, their personality was much better. They were more satisfied. Also, this helped with our enrollment numbers to increase because students are like, they pay preceptor fees. Let's go there. And their pass rate's 91%. We got to go there. And so, like I said earlier in our discussion, it's really important for me to set up that employment pipeline so we can get them working.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you personally have benefited from HCAI programs as well.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, thank you again for joining us today, Trish. We at HCAI really value the partnership with Charles Drew University to help create a healthier California. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.